Ooh. The reason why you're wheezing like a dino fart?
Oh, it's like it always catches into me in this shirt.
It's Friday,
All right.
December 8th, 2017.
Well, let's greet him first, you savage. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, and I will kill you on this camera. I don't feel no way.
You already called me a savage. Now you gotta kill me too. You're acting like all these white people.
Recorded on this.
Acting like all these white people.
That's right. And we'll wipe what's left of you all. Alright? How about that?
Putting us Native Americans down.
That's right. We'll finish it all. How about that? Anyway, brief disclosure. Good afternoon. I think I said good morning.
You said good morning. You said good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Not specifically in that order, but you said it. So.
Good. Bang. This is Type of News. I'm Dutch Pyramid.
I'm Bruce Robinson.
And we have on the table today...
Want to explain to them what we've been doing today, Mr. Robinson?
Well, unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we were in the house.
No, we still are. Once we're done with this, we're going back.
Yeah. We stepped out really fast to film... Because I feel like many folks are not really cut and dry in this domestic partnership bill. Like, I mean, I feel like it's come down to kind of religion versus preserved marriage versus same love Bermuda sort of breakdown. And I feel like it's elements of that are being missed that would help Bermudians who are not necessarily very religious or necessarily in support of same-sex marriage to really be able to pick a side by looking at these specific facts, such as the fact that many people are not discussing is that domestic partnerships will not be valid
outside of Bermuda.
And those who are married outside of Bermuda will not be recognized as far as benefits go of marriage here in this country, because if it's same sex and they're married, then we only have domestic partnerships, then it won't be recognized. Therefore, if they get injured or something, they're not tactically next of kin. So it's creating a second class citizenry.
It's exactly what it's doing now. However, it also makes things interesting because our marriage rates are going down. Yes.
Yeah, have been.
Was it only 400 couples this year that got married? Was it 400 couples or 400 people?
Well, I guess it had to be 400 couples, wouldn't it?
I guess so.
But then again, that would be 400 people, 200 couples.
We're not too sure about that. Regardless, it was 600 last year. It's 400 this year, which means less people get married.
And that's been a global trend because many millennials are very disenfranchised from marriage.
Because A, it's expensive. We can't really afford it too much.
B, it's very lined in religious.
C, we don't care too much for it because we see marriages failing all the time. So what's the point of us doing? If anything, domestic partnerships just make it easier. But it also opens up the door because it now makes, like, let's say, now I wouldn't do this personally, but I know a few people are, I don't know these people personally, but I know a few people are going to easily take advantage of the situation. Because let's say a good friend of theirs wants to come work in Bermuda for a little bit. If they get a domestic partnership, which is easy to get out of, it's literally just dissolving some paperwork. No divorce. You don't need to get a divorce lawyer. You don't need to go through the ins and outs to get it, which makes it more attractive.
Do you even need a 14-day notice?
I don't believe so. I could be wrong, but I don't believe so. If I'm wrong, please let us know. But you know how many people would come down here? Literally, it would be pathways to status without being called pathways to status.
Just like domestic partnerships are civil unions without being called
civil unions. I mean, the OBA called them civil unions, the PLP is calling them domestic partnerships. Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, just why? Gay marriage was passed in the Senate, in the Supreme Court. Why are we spending millions of dollars of our tax dollars? Whether you see it, whether or not it costs any money to do this, it's still us spending money because this is what our politicians are spending time on. Us paying them is us spending our money on these lot dancing around something that's not even an option, like an issue.
It's just time for Bermuda has always been very stuck in its own little world. And I think it's time to burst this bubble. I mean, we are behind at least 15 to 20 years on everything. And I think it's around time that we start holding ourselves to a global standard. I mean, it's just our schools are going to disarray because we don't hold ourselves to a global
scale. Oh, let's save schools for the next.
Oh yeah,
we got a lot to say
I'm not
about
getting
that.
into it, but I'm just saying all of our issues come down to we don't have the global protocols that we should have in place for a first world country. I mean, we are in a GDP bracket that solicits that we should be able to maintain our country at a first world standard. We can't have a first world GDP and all this and then be acting like we're part of the Caribbean. Yeah, like we're not
well, not all the Caribbeans.
No, but what I mean is like it's very looser when it comes to certain things than it is in a larger country.
But this is the thing, like if we did two things, if we legalize marijuana and we allowed gay marriage, that would immediately put us in the league above everybody else in the Caribbean.
One time. Actually, will put us in a league of in a lot of vacation spots simply because
we have two things that everybody wants these days. Everybody wants to smoke weed, and everybody wants their gay friends to get married, or if they're gay, they want to get married.
But a lot of people feel like it's not a lot to do in Bermuda, yes? But you have a lot of people that will come just for the tranquil and stillnessness of Bermuda and be able to experience that marijuana culture.
There's not a lot to do in Bermuda if you're Bermudian. When you're a tourist, you go crazy. Oh my God, I want to see the unfinished church. Oh my God, I want to go Dolphin Quest. Oh my God, I want to go Fort St. Catherine. Oh my God, I want to go see some pink sand. Oh my God, let's go here, let's go here, let's go here. These tourists that come down on these cruise ships and these planes for weekends and weeks at a time, they do not run out of stuff to do.
But we do have a deficit. We have a deficit as far as maintaining folks because it's not really always a ton to do once you've done all that. We don't have a very vibrant nightclub scene because half of them are full of children and the rest want to joke each other up.
Well, that's because we have a lot for tourists to do, but we don't have a lot to bring them back. But tourism aside, what was the number you said to me today? 6,000? 6,000 couples, gay couples, wanted to get married in Bermuda. 6,000 couples. That means that's not 12,000 people. That's 50,000 people because it's the couple, it's his family, it's his whatever the
their family.
It's their families, their loved ones, their friends, which are going to come down here, come down to Bermuda, spend money in Bermuda, spend money on paying for Bermudian locations to get married, buy monies from Flowers by Jimmy did a gay wedding a couple months ago. They spend our money on our Bermudian flower shops, spend money on our Bermudian caterers, spend money on our Bermudian locations, spend money on our Bermudian hotels, spend money on our Bermudian taxis.
Who now take credit card.
Who now take credit card. And it's like, literally, we are saying no to millions and millions of dollars because the church people can't get their heads out of their ass.
Oh, boom. There you are.
Boom. There goes the dynamite.
Here's the thing about it, right? Again, I feel like the issue would be solved a lot more concisely if these issues were put at the forefront of the argument. Because what happens is everyone gets caught up in what their beliefs are and that their way of life is being infringed on and that they feel like, and that's for both sides. They feel like they're getting something taken from them. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you something. You're straight, right? Okay, so if...
heterosexual,
yeah. You're heterosexual, right. So let me ask you something. If a gay guy wore a blue and white striped shirt, would it affect your ability to wear that shirt? Okay, cool. If a gay guy sat in a red chair, would it affect your ability to sit in a red chair?
Not at all.
No, if a gay guy was sitting at a glass table talking to a camera, would it affect your ability to sit at the glass table and talk to a camera?
No.
Then why the hell would it make any difference if they get married and you get married?
Because you have to also look at the dynamics of what is being put forward at the forefront of the argument. On the other side, you have, the same love who is pretty much saying, we want this right to marry. We want to be able to have a marriage that stands on the footing with our heterosexual cousins. On the heterosexual side, you have people being fear-mongered into believing that their children will be affected by this, that homosexuals are sexual predators, sexual deviants. So again, it's a lot of smokescreen. And the actual benefit of same-sex marriage is kind of tossed out the window. The actual benefit for people who are heterosexual, the benefit being, i.e., more money, more tourism. You know, it's just, we will get more work from this.
We get a lot more money from this as well, as a country.
So I feel like, again, we need to center it back to the issue of how it affects the country, because I feel like right now, the issue is about how it affects oneself. And at the end of the day, when you're deciding something on a countrywide, national scale, you can't be worried about how it affects you. You have to be worried about as far as how it affects this country.
Well, what more do you expect from the me generation? All they can think about is themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's not young people in preserved marriage saying that this needs to stop. It's not the young church people. It's the young people, it's either we don't care or we want it.
It's new hot girl.
It's the older generation saying, oh, well, this can't happen because I believe this and I believe that God sent his cosmic zombie of a son to come and die for my sins.
Well, regardless of beliefs, you are free to believe what you wish.
Yes, you are free to believe what you wish, but you are not free to infringe and try to make legislation on your belief, because not everybody believes that, and that's not fair to those of us that don't.
But to center it to the current government.
This was handled very poorly.
Now, this bill was handled very similar to the Pathway to Status bill.
It is pathway to status. It's pathway to status surrounded by the domestic.
But it's because of the fact that many people feel as though there was lack of consultation, and the bill does not impress either side. Whereas the same-sex pro folks are not impressed because they want marriage, and the preserved marriage people are not impressed because they don't want civil unions or any gay.
They don't want anything.
Any kind.
Even though half the pastors are,
but this is the thing. If you look at it, right, and you say, all right, as a government, why would I push a bill that pisses off both parties involved? And it's really something that we need to ask Mr. Walton Brown.
And Mr. David Burke, because this is premier.
Yeah, and Mr. Burke. Because if your party, as government, it's your duty to try and pass a bill that is in the best interest of the country, how is that going to work if both parties that are involved in said dispute are not impressed with your bill?
Because let me tell you something. Next week, you're either going to have an angry crowd of church people or an angry crowd of gay people. Maybe
you can have both. You're going to have both, because this bill, if it passes, it's going to tick off everybody. So I feel like the best thing to do would just be take it down, but of course you're not going to do that. No. So hopefully it doesn't pass. Now, if it does pass,
then we're idiots.
And not only that, but we'll be a laughing stock. Because we'll be
a bigger laughing stock than we already are.
We'll make history, the only country to repeal it. And that will go down in history. When people read books on annals of same-sex marriage and equality and all of that stuff, we will be right there, boom.
And the thing is, what our good friend, Mr. Tony Brennan, he has pretty much he's revealed that the biggest LGBTQ, the whole shebang, the biggest group and website has a giant magnifying glass over Bermuda. Now let me tell you what happens if this gets passed. If this doesn't pass, this is exactly what's going to happen. Not only are we going to alienate every gay person, which is a good few hundred million people, but we're going to alienate all gay-friendly companies, which is majority of the market right now. Because in today's day and age of social justice warriors, where people get offended if you say you identify the sky as being light blue, you're gonna lose. Because how often do we see someone from a big company slipping up and their sales going down because they say something homophobic?
Well, this is the thing, and this is why it brings it back to that point that Bermuda needs to get out of the bubble and to look at a global scale. Because in the global world, even proposing or saying out loud that you support this bill could cause you to lose your job. Because in any other country, discriminating against somebody or trying to deny a right, or if you want to call it a privilege, to somebody else because of the race, religion, or creed, or sexual orientation is a massive crime. And also, not just in civilian life, but in military life as well. It transcends everything. Those are the things that you cannot challenge. So it's like if a company is perceived, let's say another company in America says, oh, you do business in Bermuda, so you must be intolerant of homosexuals. You think that company is gonna lose clients and lose money to stay here if someone is slandering them on that level? We open up a massive possibility of blind spots and loss of revenue all around, from tourism and from business. It's just not conducive for a government whose purpose is to try and bring revenue to its people so they can work, so they can live, and also the government can maintain infrastructure, to push a bill that will directly middle finger some of the wealthiest people in the world. And as much as we don't like to admit it, a lot of the wealthy people are either pro same-sex or gay.
A lot of people hood same-sex are gay. How about that?
Woo, that's true. How about that? How about that? It doesn't make any sense. And honestly, I feel like as the people, you have to learn to differentiate your personal beliefs for what's best for the country. And I know a lot of people don't hear that a lot in Bermuda.
No, because
a lot of times Bermudians don't think of the country.
No, because we're ruled by the me generation. We're ruled by the bunch of selfish pricks that ruined us.
But at the end of the day, they had a time of plenty. They had a time where it was rivers running and flowing, and you know they had a time where we had to fight for these rights and equality and all of that, and we completely respect that. But now in this day and age, people are not putting the country first, and that has led to this country declining. As much as we don't like to admit it, it is declining. Our schools are in disarray, like mold and being shut down, and everything's in shambles. Our roads are potholed, and we are not worrying about Bermuda. We only worry about what affects us and what we like and what we don't like. We don't like foreigners, so we alienate foreigners. We want strict immigration reform.
But yet we pass a bill that literally opens the floodgates for people to simply say, "Oh, this is my domestic partner from Bangladesh.
Exactly.
Can't speak English, but I love her. So we're going to be together, but we're not going to get married because we don't feel like going through all of that. But we're going to get a domestic partnership, which is easier to get and easier to get out of. So, you know, she's just going to come down here, work for a couple of years, get some money, and then move back home, all rich and everything, and take the money that she made in Bermuda and take it back to her country, increasing their value and decreasing ours."
And not only that, but it just, again, that's another issue with it, whereas if you have domestic partnerships and it doesn't bequeath you citizenship, then again, it's just a second class.
What's the point of even doing it if it doesn't bequeath anybody citizenship? What's the point?
Yeah. And not only that, but if it does bequeath citizenship, then well, that's even worse. So
literally, this whole thing is you are screwed if you do it, you're screwed if you don't do it. So points to you lot, points to you, Mr. Walton Brown, for not answering our messages, not deciding that you don't want to talk to us to actually explain this damn thing.
Well, I mean, you're screwed if you do it. You can recount if you don't.
If you don't, yeah, you can pull back from it
and just pass marriage.
The smartest thing for Bert to do as premier is to just take this thing back. Just be like, look, this wasn't done properly. This wasn't thought through properly. I don't even think most PLP members actually fully understand what's going on with this.
Or support the bill.
I know Mr. Wayne Ferber does, but
a lot of PLP, we don't know where they were for. They may vote in pro, but they.
It just seems like very like mum's the word for most of them, because even when you speak it, like when they was briefly mentioned it in the House today, all of them are quiet.
Yeah.
All of them are quiet. What they're gonna now, as of recording this, we would have gone back and the decision would have been made. So clearly things will be different. But as today, for what I've seen, it was pretty mum's the word.
Just focus on the effects. That's what we want you to focus on. Whether it's passed or not, just focus on the effects, and to understand that bills like this, you need to take yourself out of the equation. It's not about you per se. If it's something that infringes on your right, if it's something that infringes on your way of life, then yes, by all means, you need to speak out. But for same-sex marriage, you lose nothing. Nobody loses anything. Nobody loses anything, because society will continue to operate as it has been all this time, with heterosexual and homosexual members in your community right now. If you feel like your children will be more influenced by marriage, then obviously you are just making excuses, because they will be no less influenced by the amount of homosexual couples walking around now. In fact, it was just a show on a few weeks ago or a month ago that was a drag show.
Yep.
They didn't need marriage to have a drag show. So if your kid is going to be influenced to be gay, Well, we're already in it. So
didn't a gay man win a fashion festival?
It basically, listen, the marriage is not going to change anything. So having a half-baked thing so you can sleep at night is not an excuse for you to deny somebody a privilege and right. It doesn't make any sense. And to be honest with you, it's a small fish to fry, and this took us forever.
And if you really want to take it, if you really want to go really religious on it, then the Bible says in the end times men will become lovers of themselves. The interpretation of that's still out the window, because it could be men worship men or men love each. It's not 100% clear cut what it means. However, if you do interpret that as being men being gay in the end times, then shouldn't you want it to happen so Jesus comes back sooner?
So gay people love each other. It's the end of the world.
Apparently to them it is. You know full well it is to them.
Yeah, clearly. Well, either way,
the
world would have ended with the Greeks, Dan. How about that?
The world would have ended with the Greeks, the world would have ended with the Romans, the world would have ended with the Egyptians, it would have ended with the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, the Qing, the King, the Yuan dynasty.
Yeah, and Africa.
The Mongol
dynasty. People
dynasty.
like to believe
the
that
Mali.
Africa didn't have homosexuality.
Actually, historically speaking, the suppression of homosexuality started with Emperor Constantine when he converted the Roman Empire to Christianity. That's when it started.
That's right. Not
before. Native Americans were fine with it. Hell, even pirates were fine with it. I can't remember the term. Pirates had a term on their ship for when two men were together. I can't remember what it's called, but when two pirates, like bunkmates or something. Buccaneers, I can't remember.
Yeah, definitely were Buccaneers.
But when two pirates were involved with each other, when one of them died, the other one, all of his treasure was bequeathed to him, everything he had was given to him, and they had a funeral, and he had rights, and he had time to mourn for his whatever he was called. And that practice was good because people think pirates were just in the 1600s. Brethren, nah, they've been pirates since we learned how to sail. So, literally, I mean, most of William Shakespeare was gay.
Just pass it. Just pass it. Just
Alexander the Great was gay.
Just make marriage.
Julius Caesar was gay.
It's gay.
Well, he played both sides, but he'll just stick his stuff in whatever he wanted to.
It's just time for us to just pass marriage. It's dragged on far too long, and it will continue to drag on until it's done.
And frankly, we're tired of talking about it.
Yeah, just take the bill down.
Just take the bill down. And if you don't, then I guess we'll be here again talking about how much of an idiot you are. And you know what? I'm displeased with Walter Braun. I'm displeased with Wayne Ferbert. But I'm not too displeased with David Brett. I think he's been doing an okay job as premier.
I'm displeased with him.
Well, if he lets this pass, then I'll be displeased with the whole conglomerate.
I'm displeased because it's come down to cheeky blurs and half-baked bills. It's no leadership leading in a direction away from where we were before. No. And I feel like Bermuda politics as a whole needs to be brought to a new level. And for the youngest premier in Bermuda, he's operating just like this before him. So
I just want the Progressive Labour Party to be more progressive.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to change the name.
Check y'all later.
That's been this type of news. I'm Dutch Perman. That's Bruce Robinson. See you later.